Okay, this podcast or this episode's disgruntled gamer rant is the rise of mid gaming. Why good enough is killing excellence.
Yep.
And when I say mid gaming,
The
mainly, I mean
bar has
like
dropped significantly.
yeah, I mean like these AAA studios that have the resources just give us complete slop.
Yeah.
And it's been, I would say, not on a consistent basis, but it's been rather, I would say, pretty close to being consistent.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying like example would be like AC Shadows. I'm not saying that's a bad game, but it's more of the same.
Yeah.
It's like they're just changing the location of the setting of the game, giving us a mid story. I mean, probably worse than mid, I would say. I played Assassin's Creed Shadows. I got like fucking 40 hours into it. I quit playing just because of fucking.
You're tired of fucking playing
It
it.
was just fucking like I had no interest in completing the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I had no interest in any of the fucking characters.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I didn't care. Was it fun playing a Assassin's Creed? Yeah, it's fun playing an Assassin's Creed game, but it's only fun to a certain point because you're doing the same shit you did in the last Assassin's Creed. So they're regurgitating this same formula over and over and over. Vice pushing the envelope and revolutionizing their Assassin's Creed games.
Yeah.
It's 2025. I shouldn't be playing, Origins all over again. I feel like I'm playing, Assassin's Creed that I played 10 years ago or something like that, It should be pushing the envelope, and Ubisoft is not doing that. So they're, again, mid. It is a mid game to me.
Yeah.
Because I finished Valhalla. I played all the DLCs, right?
Mm-hmm.
That game, Valhalla, kept me more interested than Assassin's Creed Shadows did. More examples: Dragon Age of Velgar. We bring this game up a lot. They're pushing. They're on the verge of getting us something good, and then they either ruin it with their, political ideologies or whatever gender ideologies, and they give us more mid crap.
Yeah.
Like a Dragon Age game like that, when it comes to fantasy, I want the fantasy, and perfect example of now 𝐿 is giving me everything a gamer wants.
All the games of the past no longer hold the same weight when their names are mentioned anymore because the fans, first of all, they started making these games for a certain type of fan, first of all, and those fans are not pushing back, saying,
a lot of these people don't even play their fucking games, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They love the ideologies that are in them, so that's why they become a fan.
But you see in Call of Duty, what I mean? It's the same fucking game.
Same game, Battlefield, same game.
And sometimes the maps aren't good as the last Call of Duty. And then they have to do an update because people complain about it to add a map from the past. You know what I mean? Vice creating something better than before.
I mean, you can even put, in a sense, you can kind of put Diablo 4 in that category because it's kind of like, it's kind of the same game.
I have fun playing Diablo 4, but to me, it should have been more. Being who Blizzard, what has been the trendsetter of action RPGs, right?
Yeah.
They're supposed to be the guys who take the risk.
Yeah.
Give us something crazy, something new. And I think they played it too safe with Diablo 4.
So here's the thing about Diablo 4. Diablo 4 is a very good game, but also on the flip side, its replay value is very low. Because they don't make the replay value great. It's always you get to a certain point, then it's easy as hell, and then it just kind of gets boring from there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a two-sided coin on that one.
Yeah, we'll see with the new season. I'll play that after 𝐿. But I don't know. I don't know if a season can bring me in for 2 weeks, I consider that's a good season. All right. If it's a week and I'm kind of like, all right, I got everything, I'm not playing anymore, then I consider that a weak season.
Yeah.
Last season I played for 2 weeks. It kept me engaged, but I still want them to kind of push the envelope a little bit more with their seasons. What other games, dude? Like, you remember Anthem?
Oh shit!
I mean, these AAA studios, they give you a good man. I'm telling you, Anthem could have been something, right?
Speaking of Anthem, that's on my list. We'll talk about that though.
Oh, it's on my list too. But Anthem was another game that
The
EA.
potential was a 10. The game was a 3.
It was EA, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
EA and BioWare, right? They had a potential there, and they just either stopped working on it and just they delivered another mid game. It's another mid game.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah. But like a consistent basis would be Ubisoft with Star Wars Outlaws. That's another mid game.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
I mean, I don't know how you can make a mid Star Wars. You have the creativity there. You have the Star Wars brand there. You have the money. You have the manpower. But you give us that. I mean,
even the ones
concept,
for Super Nintendo were better.
the meeting room where they developed the idea to have this when they could have had so many other fucking ideas to do was a failure from the get go.
Yeah.
Like an open world Star Wars, and this is what you think people want? No, they do not. Yeah. They don't want that. And then an Xbox, man, like Microsoft, a bunch of mid slop. I mean, they really have. They've given us a lot of mid fucking games when trying to hype them up. I mean, they hype them up and they look pretty good when it comes to the fucking, their showcases and stuff. But then they deliver us, like, they just give us this crap.
I'll go ahead and tell you, a lot of games that are also on my list they've actually become the king of slop, of mid slop, is Square Enix.
Oh yeah, it's
like,
funny.
Here's the thing: is people are like, "Oh, Square Enix made a lot of good games." Well, yeah, but I can guarantee you, for every good game you name, I can name a bad one.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of them,
And and then when they do make a good game, like just a good game, like Visions of Mana, I consider Visions of Mana actually a good game, a good entry into the Mana series.
Yeah.
The studio gets fucking evaporated. Like they gave us the Secret of Mana remake, which was fucking garbage. God. That was garbage. And then they give us a good Mana game, which is Visions of Mana, and then just shuts that. Oka Studios, they're fucking gone. But they'll have a good remake like Trials of Mana. That was good. That was a good remake. They'll bring a Star Ocean Second Story remake.
Yo, that's my favorite remake.
That's legit. It's legit. Good on them. But also 50% of the time, 50% of the time they do give you a mid or garbage game.
Well, here's the thing: is so back in the 90s, they were the King Griffey Jr. I'm talking about, or the Michael Jordan. I'm talking about they're putting up 32, 10, 10 every game. I'm talking about Superstar. Every game they put out, 90% hit rate. No damn nothing. Maybe Brave Fencer Musashi was probably the worst out of that, but that was still a good game. You know what I mean? Still a good game.
Yeah.
But it probably is. I mean, on the scale of all the games, that was probably like the least appealing one, but it was still a good game. But now that's why they got really mad at me when I made the tweet. The last time Square Enix was good was when they were Squaresoft. And boy, that Aerith, that's what I was hearing. But it's true.
There is a case to make for that.
There is, but I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is I don't mean like every game they've made is it's not even necessarily about the games anymore. To me, it's about the studio as a whole. Like the studio as a whole is just shit. They rather focus all their time instead of making good games. Their problem is their staff, their internal staff. Internally, their company is shitty because they rather focus on DEI politics and all this other stuff than going back to the basics and making. I guarantee you, because I know for a fact that the people from Squaresoft are either retired, dead, or no longer in the gaming industry or somewhere else. They're probably like looking back, the ones who are still around, like, holy shit, this is terrible. Like, this is bad. Like, so we know we're not getting those guys back. But that's who they should be learning from. Like, let's look at those guys and see what they did. Sometimes you have to travel back into the archives of what came before you, what made you successful. And then you need to take a look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? we're not living up to the code that this company was before we got started, before we took over, basically.
Yeah, and another recent one they came out with was Forspoken. You remember the hype around that game
I don't
and
even
the
play. No, it's terrible.
advertisement around that game, Forspoken? They ended up
Mhm.
being just fucking mid as hell.
No, was that the one with the black girl or whatever?
Yeah, I think she was. Yeah. But the dialogue was, they're putting you in kind of like a kind of medieval setting a little bit, but just the dialogue of being like a little, like a bratty dialogue and like being hip
Because they
or
think that's.
whatever. It just
But they think
the dialogue was stupid, the story was dumb, the gameplay was mid, and they hyped that game around because of Square Enix.
yeah.
Square Enix.
And like I told them, Square Enix says the name itself does not hold weight like it used to.
It
Like
does
it's not a name. It's not a name to be feared anymore. Like, oh shit, we got to go up against Square Enix. You know. Now, if you ever had to go up against SquareSoft, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if SquareSoft in the '90s made 𝐿 be the greatest game of all time?
Well, I know. What? 𝐿 in the '90s?
No, I'm talking about the minds behind it made the same game.
Yeah,
the minds behind SquareSoft took that game that they have now and put their vision on it as well.
Well,
like
the thing, Grant. I mean, we wouldn't be like 𝐿. It would be they would have had it out a game like that out before 𝐿 ever even came about.
Yeah, and that would have been the greatest game. But that's the thing, though, is like, and everybody's like, don't compare this game to Final Fantasy. Well, yeah, we are comparing this game to Final Fantasy because Final Fantasy used to be the kings
RPG.
they used to be the kings of the turn-based RPG.
Yeah.
Like when you think of turn-based RPG, I mean, of course, you could sit there and say, Octopath Traveler. 1% of the population is going to say Octopath Traveler and Bravely and all those other games.
When you think of an RPG game, you think of Final Fantasy.
That's just like a common. If nobody knows what an RPG is, they know what Final Fantasy is.
Yeah. And
like
Final Fantasy 7 was the one that pretty much put the stamp on that. Like you can't beat it.
Yeah, it's kind of like my mother calls every system a Nintendo.
Yeah. But so Square Enix, I don't know where they're going from here. Also, we already talked about Ubisoft, but BioWare, BioWare is like they're not even recognizable anymore.
They're not yet.
But they turned faster than Square Enix did. Because they came out Mass Effect Andromeda, which was mid as hell. Dragon Age of Elgard mid. They did have. I thought Inquisition was really good.
Yeah, it was.
And then they used to have what is it? Knights of the Old Republic, all that stuff.
Yeah.
They used to make some legit games, and now they're just pushing out a bunch of modern age
soy slop.
Pretty much, that's what it is. A lot of mid crap. When they shouldn't be. I mean, they have the. Well, I don't know about now, but they had the resources to give you something special, but they didn't.
All these companies. Here's the thing: is all these companies are blessed to have hundreds of millions of dollars to put out a fantastic game. I mean, that's every dev's dream as a person, is to be the head of a studio and have all this money and have all these resources to make the games that people want to play. And then these are the games that you think people want to play. And that's what's mind-boggling is like.
What do you think the guys, the Sandfall Entertainment staff is thinking right now? After after all the reception of 𝐿.
I don't think they're thinking either. I think they know. I think they're just being humble. They knew they had a masterpiece.
I think they knew they had a good game.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing is.
But they got to be like fulfilled now, right?
Yeah. Well,
because their game is like,
here's the thing is.
Pretty much almost a 10.
And I made this comment and somebody.
It's not a 10.
And somebody said, why do you have to bring this into it? I said, they showed the picture of their staff. I said, oh, look at that. Not one purple hair, not one nose ring in that group. And there wasn't. And I was like, they film.
Well, even if they do have different politics, I'm sure they do. Yeah. They all have it. But they
didn't put it in their game.
Smart enough, and I would say, what's the other word? What's the other word?
Savvy?
No, I mean, they were like disciplined enough to keep all their shit out of it.
Correct.
And just deliver a game for gamers.
Correct.
but yeah. So, I mean, there has been so much crap that gets all this hype.
There's been a lot of shit, like a lot. And that's what people don't understand is and when they made that post, I said, man, y'all have just decimated all this soy slop, this mid soy slop in one game. And I mean that because for the last 2 years, there has just been trash that people have just
You had some
praised.
gems here and there.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, and here's the thing: is a lot of the gyms didn't even get the praise that the trash got because you see us like here's the thing: is God of War, fantastic game. God of War Ragnarok, not really that good. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it's not like it's okay. It's not as good as the original.
Yeah.
So
I mean, like God of War Ragnarok. It's hard to make a sequel, a game like that, better than the original.
Correct.
But I think they did a good job.
It was fine, but I mean, it wasn't but it wasn't. Again,
it wasn't like a big step above the original.
Correct, and that's what you're supposed to do with sequels, man. What's the point of having a sequel? Does literally? I mean, does anybody usually think of sequels as like it's supposed to be worse than the first one? Like, who would? Why? Why would they do that?
Worse or the same? I would say. But yeah,
Ghostbusters 2, which to be fair, Ghostbusters 2 is my favorite Ghostbusters. That's my
good
favorite
Ghostbusters.
One.
Don't be.
Everybody hates that movie.
I love that movie.
That's my favorite one. That's my favorite Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Don't care what nobody says.
But anyway, so this year though, you have a lot of big blockbusters coming out, and we already had a few, but you have some big games coming out this year.
𝐿 is going to win Game of the Year unless _Tides of Annihilation is just that much
if it
better.
comes out this year.
Yeah. If it comes out this year and it's that much better, which I mean, can you imagine another game that's better than the game that you just thought was the best game?
Yeah. I mean, there's possibility, even though it's a different type of game. You have Phantom Blade Zero coming. You have what else? I think Exodus is coming in 2026, but I mean, you still got a lot of games on the docket for the rest of 2025 that could be really good.
Yeah.
But I think 𝐿 is going to be hard to beat right now. It's going to be real hard to beat for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Because they can. I mean, I think as of right now, if something comes out of blue that's way better with all, I see 𝐿. I see that game racking up a bunch of game awards, dude. Because I mean, score.
Voice actor,
game, what is it? Gameplay, art direction, dude, whatever.
Ben Stark will go back to back, man.
Boy, that dude.
He's becoming the
Michael Jordan.
He is the he's the Michael Jordan of game voice acting.
He is, dude. He is. I mean, he has a resume, dog.
Dude,
he was Clive. He was Kazan. He did a few others too that are notable. But yeah, he's good. He's good. But anyways, to wrap up this subject, I mean, we're seeing too many mid games from AAA studios that should not be delivering mid games.
I think, I hope, and I'm not sitting there making a prediction, but I'm hoping that this 𝐿 game drop and the reception that it got and everybody loving it is a turning point for these studios.
Yeah,
because I want these studios to put out good games. I want BioWare to be good again. I want, EA to be good again, except with the transactions and stuff like that. For the love of God, make good sports games. Stop making the same game. I like college football. They're finally putting I do know that in the new college football, they're putting the high school back in there, which is great because that's like more realistic for recruiting and stuff like that. I like shit like that. Finally. So we'll see.
Yep. All right, we'll see. All right, Grant.
And that's our disgruntled gamer rant.